So guys, the carving experience starts here. At the beginning of October, I will pull out my ridiculously large trunk of pumpkin designs that I've collected over the year. These are all pattern carving books that I've collected since I was basically in elementary school and even before that, because my mom was super into carving jack-o'-lanterns when I was a kid as well. So we have designs stretching back all the way to the 90s about. And I'll just start going through all of these patterns, deciding what I want to do. And it takes almost to the day before. Like, I'll be hollowing out the pumpkins and getting them ready to carve. And then I'll match the pumpkins to a design sometimes if I haven't pre-chosen all the designs beforehand. And this is the hardest part of the entire carving experience, in my opinion, because I like so many of these patterns. And here are some I actually got from online from a pumpkin carving site that I really love called Zombie Pumpkins. They have insane designs, and those are for more of like a veteran pumpkin carver, someone who's has a little bit of experience with the situation, because all of their designs are pretty insane, like these. Right now I have a stack of patterns right here that I could use on my pumpkins. Doing 6 this year, which is the largest number of pumpkins I've ever done before. Usually I do 3 or 4. So I'm gonna start getting a look on these and decide which ones I'm gonna start carving pretty soon. Hey everyone, it's Miley again, and we're about 2 days out from Halloween, and it's Tuesday night. Halloween's on Thursday, and I have just started emptying out all the pumpkins that I'm going to be carving this year. So in total, we have about 6 pumpkins. I've already emptied out 5 of them. This is my last one. So objective tonight is to just get all these clean, get all the guts out, so that tomorrow I can go through and thin the walls that I'm going to carve on, transfer the patterns over, and then carve up. So I'm aiming to have all the carving done by tomorrow night, so that all I have to do when the time comes is push out the pieces, and then we can light them and get them ready to go. We're a bit behind this year because I was busy during the day, but I think we're still in good shape. These have to be out and ready to be displayed by Thursday night before the sun goes down, so around probably 7 or 8 o'clock, so that by the time the trick-or-treaters get here, these pumpkins can all be on display. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what the kids say this year, because I recently moved. So this is an entirely different group of kids. And, part of the reason why I love carving pumpkins so much is that I love the way that the kids react to them. Seeing some of their favorite characters or just cool designs really makes my day. I love putting a smile on their faces. Sometimes what's really cool is some of the patterns I choose are of older characters like the Peanuts or of some older video game characters. And while the kids might not necessarily know what those pumpkins are, their parents might. And then they can share some moments with their kids, tell them what those characters mean to them. So that's always really neat. And on the side here, on another note, I've collected some pumpkin seeds because I'm gonna roast them up. Maybe put a little bit of salt or cinnamon sugar or something on them, roast them up and eat them. Pumpkin seeds are always super delicious. This year I was lucky, and a lot of these pumpkins had more seeds than guts, so I can have a delicious little snack while I work. some years you open up the pumpkins and there aren't a ton of seeds. So I haven't been able to have roasted pumpkin seeds this year, or the last couple years, but this year I will. So gonna finish getting all of these cleaned out, and then I'll be back tomorrow when I'm transferring the patterns and thinning out these pumpkins. All right, everyone, it's late afternoon at this point, and we're gonna get started hollowing out our pumpkins and transferring patterns. Then I'm gonna go into carving, but first we gotta hollow out the side that we're gonna carve on so that I can get my carving knife through easier and the light will show through better so that the candle doesn't have to struggle to illuminate the pattern. So what you do is, we've got these nice and hollowed out. We find the side that we want to display, which is this one, because it is nice and flat. The pumpkin isn't wiggly. No, it's not going to get blown over or anything. And you can see the pattern coming from any side. That's kind of how you choose your pumpkins. You place each pumpkin that you want to use on the floor and you look at it from all angles to see if there's a carvable side. Kind of picky about my pumpkins, but that's the way I've been doing it for years. So you find your carvable side, and then you just have to go to town and start scraping that side out until it's as thin as you need it to be. And the way you can tell is usually you can either stick a knife through an area you're not going to carve on, or sometimes what I do is I like to knock on the pumpkin, and you can kind of gauge based on the sound how thin that side is at that point. And then after we do that, I'm going to move on to the other pumpkins and then transfer the patterns on. And I'll actually show you how to transfer a pattern. My method is kind of old-fashioned at this point, but it works for me, so I've never really changed from using it. But I'll be back to show you that process. Hey everyone, I'm back. I've finished thinning out all the pumpkins. Took a couple hours, but we're finally done. So now the next step is to transfer the patterns onto the pumpkins. So what we've got here is a pattern sheet that I've taped over the top of the pumpkin. And what I've been doing actually is just going through and poking the pattern into the surface of the pumpkin. Then after that, I'll line it and then start carving. So seems pretty simple, but there's actually a couple ways to do this. There's this poking method, which is pretty old-fashioned, but it's always worked for me, so that's what I use. You can also use a pounce wheel to just outline it. And then I know some people actually wet the pattern to get it to stick closer to the surface of the pumpkin and then just cut through the pattern that way. Not really my style, but what works for you, I guess. So this is my first one that I'm transferring right now. It's a really cute pattern from Zombie Pumpkins called I Got a Rock from a Charlie Brown Halloween, or It's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown. And yeah, this is my first pattern, and it's also the one I'm kind of the most excited about, simply because I absolutely love the peanuts. But we're going to transfer this one, and then we're going to go and transfer all the others. Be right back. Alright, so we are done thinning out the pumpkins and transferring the designs. So now we need to get started carving these guys up. And when I carve, I use two basic tools. We have a smaller knife for more detail-oriented pieces. So like these little circles right here, this intersection of this rock. And then we have a longer knife for bigger pieces. And as you can see, this knife's kind of a bit crooked. It's a couple years old, been using it for a while. So this will probably have to be replaced after this year. Luckily, a lot of the pattern carving books come with new utensils, and I have a couple unopened ones, so I can just replace those right in. And then this year, I'm also doing one shaded pumpkin. So there is a shading tool included with that one, so I can just peel off the skin in some of the areas on those pumpkins, and maybe I'll show you guys a little bit of that when I'm doing it, because again, this is my first year attempting shaded pumpkins, or rather one shaded pumpkin. So I chose a relatively simple design just to get my feet wet, but I'm kind of excited to try that out. So I'm gonna get started on carving this guy and all the others, and when I get to that shaded pumpkin, I will record that for you. Hey guys, it's the day of Halloween, and right now we're starting to take out all the pieces of our pumpkins in order to get them ready for display. So what I'm gonna do is take out all the pieces right here that are kind of sticking out. They start to kind of pop out overnight because of lack of moisture. So I'm gonna take all the pieces out, coat the edges with a bit of petroleum jelly to just keep a bit of moisture in so that they last longer. And then we're gonna set them outside and put them on display. Here is our surface carved pumpkin. I did this off camera because it would have been hard to carve this with just one hand. But you use this little tool right here, it kind of looks like a razor, and you just guide it along the areas that you want to shade, and it works really well. Already lit this up with all the pieces in, and it looked super cool. So excited about displaying this one. So I didn't have much time to do another part before I put these out because tonight has been so incredibly busy. So here are all our finished pumpkins. This is I Got a Rock, the Telltale Heart, the Witch with Shading, the Headless Horseman, Lock, Shock, and Barrel from A Nightmare Before Christmas, and a witch communing with the dead. So these are all our Halloween pumpkins. Thanks so much, guys, for checking out this carving vlog. I had so much fun doing it. Hope you guys enjoyed this as well. This is ShyGamerMaile signing out. Happy Halloween, everyone.